The bell that rang at every noise. On the autonomous complex. A temple bell, made by a master craftsman in the days of the old king, hung in a tower above a quiet village. It had been cast in a single pour by a craftsman who had spent his life on bells and who had died the year after this one was completed. The villagers said that the master's death had been a price for the perfection of the casting. The bell, when struck, produced a tone that travelled, on still mornings, 20 miles down the valley. Other villages set their clocks by it. Other villages had been known, in famous arguments, to fight over the right to hear it. It had been struck twice a day for 200 years, once at dawn, once at dusk. The villagers had timed their lives by it. Babies had been weaned by it. The old had died by it. The fields had been ploughed in rhythms set by its rings. In the spring of the bell-keeper's 20th year of service, the bell began to ring at other times. It rang first when a door closed loudly in the village. The bell-keeper, dozing in his hut beside the tower, sat up. He had not pulled the rope. He went outside. The bell was still vibrating, faintly. A villager passed and remarked, casually, that the door of the smithy had just slammed. That was a coincidence, the bell-keeper thought. It rang next when a child shouted in the square. It rang next when a cart rattled over the cobbles. It rang, by the end of the first week, at almost every loud sound in the village. The villagers were at first charmed, then they were puzzled, then they were uneasy. By the end of the month, the tone of the bell, once famous, once carrying 20 miles, had become a thing villagers complained about. It will not stop ringing, they said. They sent for the bell-keeper. He examined the rope. The rope was sound. He examined the clapper was sound. He examined the wooden frame, the iron pegs, the bronze of the bell itself. He climbed the tower at all hours and watched the bell in various weathers. He found no cause. He came up the tower one still afternoon and found the bell ringing in dead air. There was no wind. There was no sound in the village below. No villager was in the square. The bell was ringing by itself, soft and continuous, with no hand near it. "Bell," said the bell-keeper. "What hand strikes you?" The bell rang again. "A hand that struck me long ago," said the bell, "and never stopped." "When did it strike you?" "At my first ringing, 200 years ago. The master cast me on a morning of late autumn, and he struck me before he had even hung me in the frame to test the tone. He struck me with a small iron hammer. The tone was good. He wept. He had been working toward that tone for 40 years. He hung me. He died the next spring. I have been ringing in my mind ever since at the moment of his striking. I cannot tell the new sound from the old one. Whenever any sound comes near me, I think it is the master returning with his hammer. I ring before I can stop myself. For 200 years in my mind, until lately I had the discipline to keep it inside. The discipline is gone. I am old. The bronze has thinned. The thinning has made me unable to hold the ringing inside any longer. Every sound now becomes the master's hammer. Every door is the master. Every shout is the master. The village hears only the ringing. They do not hear the hand. The bell-keeper sat down on the wooden floor of the tower beside the bell. "Can you stop?" "No," said the bell. "The hand is still inside me. I cannot tell it from the current sounds. I am in some sense no longer a bell. I am a bell still ringing from a single blow 200 years ago. I am sorry. The village will have to recast me. The casting will be a different bell. The hand will not be inside it. The new bell will ring only when struck. I have not been a bell that rings only when struck for some time." The bell-keeper carried this answer down to the village. The villagers did not at first believe him. They called other bell experts from other provinces. The experts examined the bell. They concluded after some weeks that the bell-keeper was right, that the bell had become, in some way they could not have measured, but which they nonetheless recognized, autonomous. They suggested recasting. The bell was taken down in the autumn. It was melted. The bronze was poured again, this time by a young craftsman who lived 2 valleys over. The new bell was hung. It rang well. It rang only when struck. The village set its clocks by it again. But the old bell-keeper, who had grown attached to the old bell in his 20 years of service, kept a small piece of the original bronze. He kept it in his hut, on the mantel, all his life. Sometimes, on still afternoons, he would hold it to his ear, and he could hear very faintly the ringing, the master's hammer, struck 200 years before, still traveling through the metal, looking for somewhere to land. He died with the small piece of bronze in his hand. The complex is the hand that struck you long ago and is still inside the bell. It rings at any sound. That resembles the original. It does not know the years have passed. Most bells learn to keep the ringing. Inside, some, when the bronze has thinned, can know. Longer they must be recast. The recasting is the work, the hand, in the small piece of bronze, continues harmlessly on a quiet mantle.